This will be a project demonstration of a project that Rosalind Blown asked me to take a look at. This is out of the Lampas for Shaft Looms book by Alice Schlein. Specifically what I need to do is to create multiple structures with different cloth layers on top and in the middle of the pattern, as well as the fifth structure that's here is the two leftmost column for the untied lampas. So actually what I have 5 structures that I want to deal with. So I've added a new tool to Quickdraw to handle this, and the ribbon tool here. First thing I need to do is increase it until that I've got 5 structures. So the first structure I'm going to create is going to be the untied lampas. I'm going to use that as the background and what normally Quickdraw would do. So when I wanted to create that original block, all I did was take the drawing tool, 2 down, a space, 2 more. So that's how I filled in that table. Now once I have that filled in, I'm going to select it, and the dark line there is just framing so I keep track of it. Copy that to the background structure. Now B is just 3 down, and then the other structure down from there. So that's how I created each one of those. Now what I want to do is take one of those, copy that to B, copy this one to C. I'm hitting the copy and then dragging it to which one of the structure blocks I want. So once I do this, I've got all 5 of the structure blocks. Now, to physically show you what that's going to do, according to the book, when I use this strutting structure in the lift plan, it is going to produce this lift plan structure. Okay, the purpose for these stripes down below is simply a quick way to duplicate what that functionality is. So what I'm going to do is just select over that area, and when I ask for the ribbon, I'm going to see that it's actually generated. There's the B block is the dark one here. The C block, like every other row, the D block, and the E block. So I can see it's actually created those structures that I wanted to create. Now I'm actually going to clear that space. Get back to the threading when I introduce this with the warp and weft editor. Now what I want to do is create a complex structure diagram. And point by point through the tie-up, it's going to select the appropriate point from each one of the other 5 structures that were on the preceding page. Now this has a table on top telling me which structures are in each one of the 4 points here. Each color represents 1 structure. Now the Quickdraw color sequence is going to be a little bit different than the diagram and the decoding that was here. I'm going to cheat just a little bit, and what I'm going to do, the yellow, blue, and red here are what was actually in the original table. So the first thing I'm going to want is a yellow. The top left hand corner would be the reds, the C block. So if I start there, the next 2 would be the black box, so that's B. So when I select the B, I've got 2 boxes of black. The third structure should be the red, which would be my blue. So then I've got 4 blocks of blue, then back to the blacks. That's 3 of those. And 4 yellows, which would be back to the red structures. So that's how I created the first row. Now it took me quite a while to go through and create that whole diagram. But that is how that was created, just by row, copying those structures. And I can use any of the tools here. I can use the free or the fills, whatever was the fastest way to fill that structure. Obviously for that big yellow, it was easier just to do that with a fill. But that's how that figure was created. Let me go back to this figure. So that was the basic figure. If you look at the lift plan I was trying to create, the 2 blocks on the left were actually the untied lampas. So what I actually did was leave the 2 left-hand columns for where that was going to be, and that's why I did the structure A. You know, the background is the untied lampas. So now what I'm going to do is just copy that. Now I actually have a number of Quickdraw buffers. I've got 5 pattern buffers here, which are fairly small buffers. The big copy buffer that I'm accessing when I click up here is the size of the grid, so it's a very large copy buffer. Now let me scroll over just a little bit. The color map I just created, I just pasted that in, so now I got a copy of it. And now when I select that area, when I hit the ribbon, it's going to create that lift plan. And I can see that I've actually now created the same lift plan that was in the figure here. So now when I copy the lift plan, when I go back to the main warp and weft editor, A couple of things I'm going to notice. Let me go back here. If I look at the threading, you'll notice I've actually already created that threading. And now what I want to do is paste in that lift plan. When I select the existing lift plan, delete that so I don't have a lift plan. When I paste that lift plan, I've now got that lift plan in place. Now the next thing I need to do is set up the color rotation. So I'd actually zoomed in on this pattern and created the copy buffers out of that image. So when I come back over here, I've got that color rotation. And so I've now actually filled in the colors that were in the original draft. And when I look at that pattern, I can see it start to form here. When I go to multiple repeats and zoom out, now I can see more accurately that I've actually reproduced the woven product that I was trying to produce. So that walks me through the project that I was trying to create.